WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
The longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now, here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow. You know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, and you alone. That's right. Lucas, with his occupational obligations, at least I'm pretty sure that's where he is. Full disclosure, he didn't exactly let me know, so I'm presuming that he's working, but who knows? Maybe he'll show up a little bit later here in this abbreviated edition as we are here until 12:45. We've got high school football action, Conwell-Eakin Catholic against Del Val Charter football. Still recovering and reeling from an amazing event last week at the MFPW Arena Turkey Slam, which, if you didn't get the chance to see it, coming up fairly soon, you'll be able to catch it on the Fight app, F-I-T-E. Our first broadcast for that included the 60-minute Ironman match for the Supersonic Championship between Leon St. Giovanni and Mikey Webb, and yours truly was on the commentary for the entire card without any too many difficulties as we were making that transition. Also, you had the 8-man elimination tag team match, Team the MFPW against Team Ring of Honor. You had Will the Hype Ferreira. You had Rhett Titus, you had Cheeseburger as well as Delirious, and then on the MFPW side, you had Nick Camarado, the Freak Beast, Cody Vance, the MF Live champion. You also had Anthony Bennett, and it was a great time, to say the least. It certainly kept things busy and interesting, without question. So let's get into things from today here. A lot of news to get into, including some not-so-good news from what a lot of people are hoping will be a Hall of Famer this upcoming year for WrestleMania, especially after this announcement. Leon White, who you remember as the man they call Vader, announced earlier this week on Twitter that he had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure and has been given less than 2 years to live. He tweeted, quote, "Told by 2 heart doctors that my heart is wore out. I have been given less than 2 years to live. I am only now allowing this as part of my reality." Now, I wonder if how long this information was presented to him, as a little while ago, Vader was, he made an appearance at George's Cards and Collectibles, and Lucas and I got the chance to meet him, and we could tell just from his demeanor that something was off, but we couldn't quite put it as what it was, and we didn't want to immediately jump to conclusions of, this is not a good person, or maybe he just had a bad day or something. But, I mean, for all we know, perhaps that week he had been informed of this and was still trying to come to grips with it at that particular time. Who knows? But, I mean, our thoughts go out to Vader. There's already the Vader for HOF hashtags going out in the social media realm. And, Vader is extremely memorable, was a great WCW champion, was very huge over in Japan, and one of the most agile big men who were out there, somebody who topped the 400-pound mark, but still was able to do things like moonsaults and things of that nature. And then he went over to the World Wrestling Federation, and as a lot of people who come over from WCW didn't quite have the success in the World Wrestling Federation that he had hoped. But nonetheless, a successful career, and our thoughts go out to him as he tries to work through this here as best he can. Maybe there's something that can kind of help prolong things, but I guess when you're told that it's wore out, that's a tough pill to swallow, to say the least. Man. Some other news we'll get into over the course of the hour. Of course, it's Survivor Series weekend. That's right. NXT TakeOver is going to be tonight up in Toronto, and then tomorrow night is the Survivor Series pay-per-view. The 30th one, I believe. That's right, because 1987 was the first year of the Survivor Series. We'll go with my predictions certain to go wrong coming up a little bit later. See if I can get them sent over perhaps from Lucas before the 45 minutes are up here. And also, someone in professional wrestling getting a rather notable honor courtesy of People Magazine. We'll tell you what that story is. Also, we'll talk about the new short-form animated series on the WWE Network that's debuting tomorrow night. Also, a new deal in Deutschland for WWE. And a little more Survivor Series information regarding next year. Also, a notable WWE name that has announced a book that he'll be writing, and also a documentary that is coming up regarding something not directly wrestling related, but indirectly wrestling related. Also, another name joining the lawsuit against WWE over head trauma related injuries. We'll tell you who that's about, and also this is unfortunate. I know I chuckle at it, but I think it's because of the nature of it, and I know that this is going to be walking on a bit of a tightrope here. So I almost feel like I should call Ted in here to kind of make sure that I'm on the straight and narrow here. Ted just stroking his beard, but he certainly. He's the expert at this sort of thing. So yeah, let's see if we can bring him in here on this to get his take and kind of keep me maybe as non-political as I can be on this, because this is a borderline political topic here.
Uh-oh.
I know. I've got to try to walk the line on this one. So, Joey Styles, notable play-by-play commentator for Extreme Championship Wrestling here in the Philadelphia area. Very noted, not just here locally, but also nationally, as he worked for WWE for many years after ECW went out of business. But he and WWE parted ways back in the summer and has been working for some of the larger independent organizations, including Evolve. Well, Styles was fired by Evolve booker Gabe Sapolsky this past Saturday for making a Donald Trump-inspired joke referring to that grabbing in a particular area that you may have heard about in the news.
Part.
Yes, grabbing a personal part or two.
Of a woman.
Yes. And Sapolsky, the booker for Evolve, noting on Twitter that he had issued a mandate regarding political commentary of any kind during the show. So even in that particular joke or jest, that was enough to get him the axe here. And on Monday, the other organizations Beyond Wrestling and Chikara Promotions announced that they were severing ties with Styles as well. Now, Styles is known, for being part of Extreme Championship Wrestling as the uncensored, you'd think I'd have this off the top of my head, but then again, this is what 83 minutes of sleep would do.
I don't know how he does this, by the way. I'm serious. It's good he's young. That's all I could say on that.
I ain't that young.
Well, you're a lot younger than me. In those days, I could hang in there. I don't know if I could do 83 minutes of sleep, though.
That's it. The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary.
Okay.
So, he's known for walking the line a little bit. He did that with ECW back in the 90s and early 2000s. And I'm wondering if it's just a matter of oversensitivity here in 2016 or... I don't know. This is where I'm kind of torn because, you want Joey Styles to be the Joey Styles that he was known for, who would kind of walk that tightrope walk a little bit. And was it just a matter of going a little too far in making the political-based joke, or...
Well, I guess my interpretation would be the fact that there is potential lawsuits. Maybe that's why there was a more, not with him, but concerning the president-elect and what have you, that maybe we should stay away from this because it's still a hot topic, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of hot topics regarding that. That's why I'm being as careful as I can here, but we're discussing news, so that's right. I don't think I'll get in
Well,
any
I
kind of
think if
trouble
you
for
just
that.
present it as you did as a news, as we discussed this on the air, so thank you for putting up with this discussion. But something you would normally say off the air, but as long as you present it as a news item, I think you're going to be safe there, Fearon. It's when you start throwing the opinion on it is what's going to get you walking that fine line. So,
well, I mean, my opinion isn't necessarily on the topic itself. My opinion is more regarding whether Styles went too far. So that's I guess, the question. I mean, I personally don't think he did, but I'm also used to his style of commentary being that tightrope walk. It's something that I guess a lot of broadcasters have dealt with. I mean, for me, going back to the shock jock days of the of that same time period of the 90s and early 2000s, and somewhere along the way, the pendulum of opinion and content kind of swung in the other direction. And I mean, it's not. I mean, it does that. It kind of goes back and forth. I know it was very. The 90s were very similar to the 70s.
Mid to late 80s, that's when the shock jock stuff started anyway, to the where people were noticing it. So there had to be an adjustment period.
True, and then it was kind of acceptable, and then by the early 2000s, it kind of went back in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, that would be my interpretation. They may just be worried about the fact that there's ramifications that we don't know about yet with this, so it's best to stay away from it. That's probably how they looked at it. But knowing him, you should also have considered that when you put him in the position he was in, knowing what his record had been and what he's known for, I would guess.
Well, I guess the other issue is, I mean,
he's always been outspoken. He's always done this, so it's not like that should necessarily have surprised them.
No, and I guess maybe, I mean, I can't speak for Joey Styles in this regard, but the fact that it wasn't exactly politically related in the terms of a political stance on something. It was just a topic that came out in the news based on a recorded conversation from well in the past, and I guess in making light of that is considered political commentary. I don't know. That's where the definitions get a little fogged.
But needless to say, it cost him his job.
Yeah, but I mean, he's Joey Styles. I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back. Next thing you know, he'll be kicking me out at the MFPW.
Hey.
Well, hopefully not, but or maybe working alongside me, grooming me as the next. I mean, I've been doing solo commentary like he has for a while here, so we'll see. I don't know. It's something certainly worth debating. Anyway, let me. Gosh, the time is moving so quickly here. Let me take care of our first time out. We'll come back and we'll get to the phones and get to some more news and notes here with a lot of the hilarity and insanity and everything else going on, including, one of our friends here on the show, George's Cards and Collectibles. They've got another appearance coming up in the non-wrestling related sector. This time it's tomorrow, the first public appearance of Flyers center and right winger Travis Konechny. That's right. He'll be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall for the hockey fans out there, eh? And also on Saturday, December 10th, just 3 weeks away from 2 to 4 p.m., former WWE and TNA star Mr. Kennedy, or Mr. Anderson, depending on your organization of choice, will appear at George's Neshaminy Mall as well. George's has 3 locations for all of your cards and collectible needs, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, in the Willow Grove Park Mall in the second level near Macy's and Tivana, and in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing. Plus, check out in the Neshaminy Mall the freestanding holiday area by the food court as well. For more information, go to georgescollectibles.com and also follow George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. Coming back with more hilarity, insanity, and who knows what else. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Are you curious what old antiques, collectibles, or household contents are worth? Listen Friday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. for What's It Worth with Mike the Appraiser, right here on 1490 WBCB.
Let's go. Growing your business can certainly be a challenge. Univest Bank and Trust Company has partnered with WBCB on a small business series to help you achieve your goals. Tune in to Building Your Business with Univest Small Business Banking President Hugh Connolly and other industry experts. Join us every Wednesday morning at 9:30 to gain insight, solutions, and tips to help your business prosper. Univest's Building Your Business with Hugh Connolly every Wednesday morning at 9:30, right here on 1490 WBCB. Univest Bank and Trust Company is a member of the FDIC and an equal opportunity lender.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Eagles fans, Merrill Reese inviting you to join me and a different Eagles guest every Thursday night, 6 to 7, for the Gwynedd Mercy University Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. We'll broadcast live from a Chickies and Pete's location near you. We'll break down the game and take a look at what's coming up for the Birds. Go to WBCB1490.com for location and special guest information. Can't make it to the show? Watch it live on WBCB1490.com.
He's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
Breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here solo as Lucas, kind of like in the 95 Fall Brawl with the aforementioned Big Van Vader, seems to be AWOL.
That is not fair.
Well, it's not fair, but at least it's true. At least for the moment. I don't know. Maybe if I heard from you, that might change things a bit here. So, a lot to get into. As I mentioned, prior to the break, the unfortunate news of Vader being told that he only has a couple of years left to live because of his heart, and Joey Styles being fired for the political-ish comment regarding certain grabbing of a certain area and things like that. We'll get into more coming up in just a moment, but first let's go to the phones. We've got to look at the local scene courtesy of Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving this coming Thursday. Where is the time gone?
This year went fast.
Yeah, it did.
There's a pay-per-view party at Nick's Roast Beef this Sunday on Hartman Avenue with Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Rikishi.
That's got to be an interesting... hopefully they have ordered extra roast beef with Rikishi in the house there.
Save some for the rest of us.
No, I mean, I actually have met both of those individuals, and they're both really cool guys. So, yeah, if you get the chance to head on out there, it's Nick's Roast Beef on Common Avenue in Northeast Philadelphia. Yeah, definitely want to check that out. That's a lot of fun with the...
There's a doubleheader tonight at the Flyer Skate Zone in Voorhees, starting at 4 o'clock. Matt Tremont, Sammy Callahan, Jade from TNA, Taylor Hendricks, and Joe Gacy on the card.
Oh, very nice. And that's all, that's the CZW Night of Infamy that's going on tonight over in Voorhees. And then, of course, the WSU prior to that. That's correct.
Wrestle Pro is tonight also in Broadway with the Hardys and Ryback.
Man, there's a lot of competition locally here. That's what makes pro wrestling great here in the tri-state area, in the Philadelphia, Jersey, New York, into a degree, Delaware to a degree as well. There's just so many different options that sometimes they kind of run head-to-head like this.
Did you hear about Sabu having a hip surgery?
Yes, I did hear about that, and I know that there was, wasn't there some sort of a, I guess a fundraising or a GoFundMe or something like that regarding the surgery for him?
over 23,000, I think, so far, that I read.
It was started back on August 10th, so a little over 3 months ago. The goal is $50,000. The website, I'm looking at it here, is gofundme.com/ProWrestlerSabu. They're trying to reach $50,000, and so far the donations have reached just under half of that at $23,336 at the immediate moment.
And this might be too far out. In New York, they're having a convention, big event, 11.
I've heard of the big event. I can't say that I've made my way up to there.
Yeah. That might be too far out.
Although, in fairness, I never seem to make the Legends of the Ring either, probably because they run concurrently with this show here. So, one of these times, if there's a preemption, I might be able to make it happen.
Bruno's last signing.
Bruno Sammartino's last signing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they also have Mark Henry, Bobby Heenan, Vicky Guerrero, Swoggle, James Ellsworth.
Oh yeah, he's extremely popular right about now. With the signing, that's all going on. That's right, that's going on today.
Yeah, 10 to 3.
Well, okay, so I was gonna say if you leave now, you'll probably miss it. So
maybe sometime they'll probably do something here in Philly.
Possibly. It's saying it's public signing. Mark Henry, Bob Backlund, Ryback, Cameron, Hall and Nash are there. Bobby Heenan, Rob Van Dam. Mandy Leon from Ring of Honor. I was fortunate enough and honored enough to. She was doing commentary with me at the MFPW Arena last week for the 8-man tag team elimination match of Team the MFPW against Team Ring of Honor.
And I'll save this for the next week about Final Battle in Philadelphia.
Oh, yes. That's certainly another biggie here. That's coming up soon.
Do you know if they're going to have any TNA tapings here?
I haven't heard of anything at the immediate moment. Yeah, nothing that's jumping out at me at the at this particular moment as far as that.
That's about it.
All righty, thank you so much for the look at the local scene as always, Ed from Northeast Philly. Certainly appreciate it. Some other news and whatnot to get into in this abbreviated show. We're only on for about another little less than 20 minutes or so as we make our way up to high school football here on 1490 WBCB. And some other news. Well, WWE and Sky Deutschland announcing last Thursday a new multi-year agreement to distribute WWE's premier pay-per-view events starting this Monday in Germany, because time difference, it would be very early Monday morning, with Survivor Series and televised WWE's flagship programs Raw and SmackDown live on Sky Sports beginning April 2017. Sky customers in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland will be able to order one of WWE's biggest events of the year, Survivor Series, this Monday, November 21st at 1 a.m. Central European Time. That's right, because it's an 8 o'clock start here in the U.S., so it's a 6-hour or 5-hour time difference with the daylight saving time. Something like that. I'm thrown off by all this. What can you do? What can I say? Or something along those lines. And some other news here. People Magazine named to, I don't know how many people are surprised by this. I got to say that it probably had to happen eventually. But People Magazine naming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as their annual Sexiest Man Alive. Sorry, Ravishing Rick Rude. Rock speaking with the magazine, giving him his reaction, he said, quote, "That's awesome. And then what went through my mind was just how cool and exciting it is. And then I thought, wow, we've pretty much reached the pinnacle. I'm not quite too sure where we go from here. I've done it all. This is it." It is pretty exclusive company. Is the People magazine Sexiest Man Alive? They only started doing that maybe 30 some odd years ago, something like that. As I look back at the history here, and to give you an idea of some of the names from the past that some of the company that Dwayne The Rock Johnson keeps. You got to go all the way back to the mid-'80s for Mel Gibson, John F. Kennedy Jr., Sean Connery, Tom Cruise, Richard Gere on a couple of different occasions. Actually, there are a few two-time award winners of that. Richard Gere, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Johnny Depp, Pierce Brosnan back during his James Bond run was a biggie, Bradley Cooper, and the victory, or I guess awarding to Johnson, now upending last year's winner, David Beckham, which surprised it took that long for him to, we've been hearing Beckham's name for ages, but I guess you need a little bit of distinguishedness to you to be able to get it. It's not necessarily about youth, as the youngest awardee of the Sexiest Man Alive was Tom Cruise back when he was 28 in 1990. So, yeah, usually they're people in their 30s, 40s, and sometimes even 50s in the cases of Connery, Nick Nolte, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, just to name a few. Yeah, no, this is way too long of a discussion that I thought I'd be doing regarding the Sexiest Man Alive. I hear you laughing out there. In other news, Storytime, a new animated short-form original series on WWE Network, will premiere this Sunday immediately following Survivor Series. Storytime paints an animated picture of some of the most entertaining stories in WWE as recounted by the superstars and legends who lived them. As history is retold with imagination and illustration, these tales that took place behind the scenes and beyond the ring are finally revealed and brought to life. Tomorrow's episode will take a trip down memory lane with stories from Triple H, Ron Simmons, so we'll be able to hear him say something more than just, damn, Ric Flair, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Jake the Snake Roberts as they recall life on the road. Certainly should be interesting. I kind of wonder how far they'll be able to go as in regards to telling their respective stories. Should be interesting. Coming up, we've got the predictions certain to go wrong for Survivor Series. I'll get those coming your way in just a moment. At least on the other side of our second time out, as we're only here for another 13 minutes or so. And we'll take care of our second time out, and we'll come back with the rest of the program here. But I got to tell you that November is a month of change at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. New for the month, the Bee Gobbler. A delicious take on a local favorite, fresh cranberry, Cooper sharp cheese, hot stuffing, and oven-roasted sliced turkey breast and gravy, served on a 6-inch sub roll. Wet, messy, and great with beer, just like Bubba, and it has that homemade taste that you can't quite get from that store that makes something very similar from it. Plus, this Wednesday, November 23rd, a new Thanksgiving Eve tradition, Thanks for the Laughs 2, comedy at the Broken Goblet with comedians Jim Florentine and Don Jameson. Get your tickets now because they are almost sold out. And finally, this Friday, Black Friday at noon, brings B-Gob 2.0, featuring expanded hours at the Broken Goblet, as well as a new food menu, the introduction of mixed drinks, and a bottle release of Carl the Great, the Goblet's Russian Imperial Stout that has been aged in Scotch barrels. Oh, man, I can't wait to have some of that. Plus, Zombie Turkey Paintball is back, along with a celebration of hair metal, including the final performance ever of Stainless Maiden. Plus, if you head on over there tonight, that's right, your favorite and mine, Kinky Quizzo is back. So all reasons that you know and I know, it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Going to be coming back after this next time out here and kind of put a bow on things before we send it out to Conwell Egan Catholic and Del Val Charter Football here on WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former Major League pitcher. I'm here to tell you about the Endoscopy Center at St. Mary, a state-of-the-art ambulatory care center that has been serving the greater Philadelphia community since 2006. It is also where I chose to have a colonoscopy. I believe in preventative health care. The highly trained physicians and staff at the Endoscopy Center at St. Mary made sure that my experience went smoothly. Take control of your health and visit the Endoscopy Center at St. Mary. Call 215-750-7700 to set up an appointment and tell them Tommy Green sent you. It is time you look inside.
Join Chapel Ministries on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. for A Time in the Chapel, a 1-hour non-denominational in-depth Bible teaching. Join them as they explore various topics and learn more about God in your life and you in His plan. Call 484-533-7173. A Time in the Chapel, a service of Chapel Ministries, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. on WBCB 1490 a.m.
Eagles fans join Paul Jolovitz, Tom Cardella, and a different Eagles guest each week during the season for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Every Monday at 6 p.m. right here on 1490 WBCB.
Holidays, traditionally thought of as a time for celebration, can be especially difficult and painful for those individuals and families struggling with substance abuse and mental health disorders. It's important to develop strategies to assist with combating holiday stress, remaining safe, and keeping healthy. Please keep these helpful hints in mind. Stay in contact with close friends and family. Having positive, supportive people in your life can evoke a sense of comfort and calm. Read prescription bottle labels to ensure that alcohol will not cause a negative reaction. Know the facts about alcohol. Alcohol affects each person uniquely, and it can have a different effect each time you drink. Don't drink and drive. Even one drink can affect reaction time, concentration, and motor coordination. Even though you think you may be driving safely, alcohol prevents you from using good judgment and making quick decisions. This message is brought to you by the Prevention Coalition of Mercer County.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, November 19. On this date in 1991, WCW held its Clash of the Champions 17 Supercard. In the main event, Lex Luger pinned Rick Steiner to retain the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 1995, the WWF held its Survivor Series pay-per-view. In the main event, Bret Hart pinned Diesel in a no disqualification match to win the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2000, the WWF held its Survivor Series pay-per-view. In the main event, Steve Austin fought Triple H to a no contest in a no disqualification match. On this date in 2006, TNA held its Genesis pay-per-view. In the main event, Kurt Angle defeated Samoa Joe by submission. This has been Today in Wrestling History, November 19.
Hi, this is Jim Cornette, and you're listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Derry on 1490 WBCB.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. Not alongside Lucas. He's somewhere.
I know I'm a mess.
Yeah, he's being a mess somewhere here, but I don't know. We'll hear from him at some point as the holiday season gets a little bit closer here. So just about time to bring it home here. Let's see if we can rapid fire through these as we've got about 7 minutes or so to go. So WWE announcing on Thursday that the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas will host the 30th anniversary of WWE Survivor Series, falling 1 year from today. That's right, November 19th, 2017. Tickets will go on sale Friday, December 9th, and as part of Survivor Series weekend, WWE will host 4 consecutive nights of action at the Toyota Center, starting with NXT TakeOver on Saturday, November 18th, Survivor Series on Sunday the 19th, Monday Night Raw on the 20th, and SmackDown Live on the 21st. Should be good for the fans in Houston there for the Survivor Series. Also, WWE announcing Wednesday that E! Entertainment has picked up the Total Bellas reality show for a second season. So more hijinks with Nikki, Brie, Daniel, and John Cena. Should be interesting there. Former WWE wrestler Ashley Massaro joining the lawsuit against WWE over head trauma-related injuries. In doing so, Massaro alleged that she was sexually assaulted while visiting a U.S. military base in Kuwait.
She said that she was examined by a company physician who then informed WWE executives. She claims that the executives apologized for their negligence and then, quote, persuaded her that it would be best not to report it to appropriate authorities. Oh, boy. ESPN announcing that a new 30 for 30 documentary will be focusing on the XFL. That's right, the football league launched by Vince McMahon and NBC back in 2001. The role of Dick Ebersol, who played a huge part in the league via NBC, is also chronicled as the documentary is directed by his son, Charlie Ebersol. The documentary, titled This Was the XFL, will premiere on Thursday, February 2nd at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 3 days before the NFL's Super Bowl. Billy Corgan announcing that he signed his settlement papers with Anthem regarding the money he borrowed to Dixie Carter and TNA Impact Wrestling. Anthem previously announced that they would repay Corgan the money that he borrowed to the company or lent to the company. However, something tells me there'll be more litigation because it sounds like that the back and forth with them is anything but over. And finally, in some good news for you readers out there, his voice known around the globe as the voice of WWE, and now the world will get to know the man behind that voice in an intimate autobiography from independent book publisher Skyhorse. Jim Ross, the voice of the WWE, set to publish a new book with Skyhorse. It's called Slobberknocker. It'll be due out fall of next year, and it's Ross at his most personal, sharing his life from a simple upbringing to becoming one of the most recognizable figures in professional wrestling. It'll chronicle his career with a climax at WrestleMania 15, so that way there's a possibility for, I guess, a second book. And it'll talk about his wrestling career, his strong presence on social media, the Ross Report, his columns on Fox Sports, work with CBS Sports, AXS TV, Britain's ITV, as well as his 2 New York Times bestsellers, and, of course, the barbecue sauces and condiments. So look forward to that coming up about, give or take, about a year from now. And finally, well, we got 2 things to deal with. Predictions certain to go wrong. I will make them real quick here for the 6 matches on the card. The Brian Kendrick against Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title. If Kalisto wins, then SmackDown Live gets the entire Cruiserweight division. I'm going to go with that. I think Kalisto could take it here and move the Cruiserweights over to SmackDown. Why, I'm not really sure. Dolph Ziggler against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. I think Ziggler retains. And then the 3 Survivor Series matchups, including the 20-man tag. That's right, 5 tag teams versus 5 tag teams, something not seen in WWE since the 2nd Survivor Series way back in 1988. You have, for Team Raw, The New Day, Enzo and Cass, Anderson and Gallows, Sheamus and Cesaro, and the Shining Stars against Team SmackDown's Heath Slater and Rhino, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, the Usos, and Breezango. I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm going with Team SmackDown. And then for the women, you've got a 5-on-5 elimination match. Charlotte, Nia Jax, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Alicia Fox against SmackDown's Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Naomi. I'm going with Team Raw on that one. And for the singles in the men's division, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Seth Rollins for Team Raw against SmackDown's AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and now Shane McMahon. I'm going with Team Raw for that one. And finally, the biggie, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, 12 years in the making. I think it's going to go to Goldberg just because of the hype that's going on with it and to help pump those video game sales. And finally, with just about a minute and change left, it's time for
Birthdays, you jerk.
That's right. We're going to have a little fun with this one here. Got a few for you. Grand total of 3 plus the Brucey bonus. On this date in 1933, Lawrence Harvey Zeiger was born. The longtime television and radio host, guest star, and social media ambassador for WWE Monday Night Raw, known as Larry King, turns 83 today. That's right. I had to do a little bit of stretching for this one. On this date in 1938, Robert Edward Turner III was born. You know this name, the billionaire media mogul and philanthropist who founded the TBS and CNN networks, as well as was the owner of World Championship Wrestling from 1988 to 2001, better known as Ted Turner, or Billionaire Ted, turns 78 today. And finally, on this date in 1960, Elizabeth Ann Hulett was born. The famed manager and ex-wife of Macho Man Randy Savage, known as the First Lady of Wrestling, Miss Elizabeth, died in 2003 at the age of 42 from a drug and alcohol overdose. Oof. And the Brucey bonus, something outside of the world of professional wrestling. Had a couple that I could have gone with, but I'm going with, on this date in 1977, Carrie Allison Strug was born. The retired gymnast, best known for her Olympic gold medal winning vault with an injured ankle, becoming a national hero, making the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine, and appearing on a box of Wheaties cereal. She turns 38 today. Wow, amazing to think that was 19 years ago, the 96 Olympics, which overshadowed the gold medal in freestyle wrestling won by Kurt Angle. What can I say? Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I should be back next week because all the football insanity, I believe, should be gone, back with a full show, and should be back in studio. Hopefully Lucas will be along with us. And for now, stay tuned. We've got high school football here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.